Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are deciding to watch this video. I just wanted to make a quick little video here to assign your project for the semester. And because I forgot to do it in class the other day, so here we go. So the too long, don't watch about it, if you will, is that you are going to be doing a presentation project. We won't be doing it in class just because of how the schedule is working out and timing wise. But what you'll be able to do is present either to me via Zoom, or you're welcome to submit a recording as long as you're using some sort of software to be able to share your screen. Zoom works perfectly for that, or if you use any other like screen sharing video software, that's totally fine with me. Like what I'm using right now is something called ScreenPal, formerly known as Screencast-O-Matic. And you're able to choose whatever topic you would like, as long as it relates back to the ocean or the environment. If you are in my lecture class, you are more than welcome to basically just transform your letter project, which you've already done, and transform it into a presentation. That's totally fine with me, which I would actually suggest. That way you're not doing like extra work, you know what I mean? So all of the written details are on Canvas within the projects module. I'll also show you where I have a couple of other links in terms of that might be helpful to help you with like maybe getting some ideas or getting some good sources, things like that. So let me go ahead and share that. Okay. So just to show you where this is located on Canvas really quick before I go through the details, if you go to the the projects module, excuse me, all the way down here at the very bottom, you'll see all of the details here, which actually reminds me I need to go ahead and actually put the module here, presentation, details, and rubric. There we go. Okie dokie. So this is where you'll find all the details. This is where you will turn in your outline and sources, which I'll explain here in a moment. And then I will open up the link to turn in the actual presentation itself later on. But this is where you'll also find a couple of websites to help with ideas, as well as some other possibilities here. So for the project itself. So what you're going to be doing is putting together a 5 to 10 minute presentation. You can use any other software besides PowerPoint if you have knowledge of how to use that. Could be like Canva or something else that I'm not totally aware of. Please go for it. This is an optional group project. So if you've been working with someone throughout the semester and you want to do this with them, go for it. But if you aren't a group work kind of person, totally fine. You're more than welcome to do it solo. It's super open-ended in terms of creative freedom. I want you to do something that you like or that makes you excited or something that you're passionate about. It truly is the key for success in any project that you do, to actually care about the content that you are presenting on. The point here is for you to have fun, be creative, and do some research on an area of interest. I have a list of topics at the bottom of this document. There are tons of different aspects of the ocean or the environment that we have not covered, but you're more than welcome, or have not been covered fully. Tons and tons of topics in order to choose from that may be interesting. So by November 19th, which is the Sunday before fall break, I would like for you to please turn in a rough outline. So that can be bullet points. It can be like a rough sketch of your slides. It can be like a paragraph. I just want to see that you've actually done a little bit of research on your topic, and you've provided some sources that you may or may not use. At least 3 to 5 sources. So even though overall, like, every student will kind of do a different sort of format in a sense, or, you know, kind of put things together in a different way, I have overall expectations for everyone. First being an introduction and motivation. Tell me why you chose this particular phenomenon. Provide a simple introduction of what it is. describing the phenomena or issue, give a description basically as to why, what, when, where, who, all that kind of stuff, and impacts of it. And then providing examples or a particular case study. So you can either go like super scientific with the case study or just provide examples of a phenomenon. Like, for example, if you do harmful algal blooms or red tides, you can choose to focus on a few HAB events or red tide events around the world. Or you can go into like how scientists have even found out that HABs are a thing. That's entirely up to you. What I will also mention is if you are doing like a particular phenomena, like say you have family who had to escape from Hurricane Katrina, you could do Hurricane Katrina. And so then these two bullet points, if you will basically combine into one because you're already doing an example of a phenomenon, right? But you would just basically go into way more detail than what you would if you were doing just a generic tropical cyclones and then decided to use an example of Hurricane Katrina. Then just wrap up your presentation. Don't just end with thanks. Kind of give a brief little overview and how can you prepare for things in the future if it's something that's destructive, things like that. Overall references, I need at least 3 viable resources. Things like Wikipedia or YouTube do not count because anybody can alter a Wikipedia page and anyone can make a YouTube video and call it truth. Looking at you, Plandemic, or really anything that any stupid streamers put on the internet. So good things, good resources would be things like any resource with a .gov, .edu, and/or .org website is usually pretty good. Scholar.google.com is fantastic. The library within your school works really well as well, depending on if you're doing this for Skyline or Kenyatta, or CSM. The library has a vast resource of data resources for you. And then figures or pictures with your own captions. So a PowerPoint presentation with 0 pictures is super boring. So I want you to provide pictures or provide figures, maybe like actual scientific figures if you're going scientific with it. But underneath your picture or your figure, you need to have a caption that describes to the reader, to the audience, what you are looking at. Very similar to like anything like a news article where, they have tons of pictures. Okay, hopefully we won't have any technical difficulties from here. Apologies that last part of the video kind of cut off a little bit. Anyway, you're going to be providing pictures or figures with captions. And then lastly, I will be grading on your presentation ability. Is it put together and it not rushed? Were you prepared? Is it evident that you practiced? Was it rushed? Meaning did you do it in 3 minutes? Did you do it in 15 minutes? Were you under time? Were you overtime? Or were you kind of in that sweet spot? Just a reminder, the minimum time is 5 minutes and the maximum time is 10 minutes. I can indeed tell the difference between being nervous and the difference between being unprepared. Generally, it is pretty obvious. Prepare in front of your cat, prepare in front of your roommates or housemates or family members or dog or whatever. Whomever you want to practice in front of, you are welcome to. And then to present to me, you're either going to present a recording or schedule a time during finals week via Zoom, whatever is easiest for you. Generally, for the most part, students tend to opt for the recording part of it. So it's up to you. I'm pretty open with that. In terms of topics, this is a very non-exhaustive list. Please feel free to choose something not on this list. I highly recommend trying to tie this back into something with your major or a hobby of yours. It kind of is easier, like I said before, to do something that you care about. So some topics that have been pretty popular have been unsustainable aquaculture, like especially if you're someone who goes fishing a lot, that can be really interesting in the global commercial fishing industry. Coral bleaching and coral restoration, that's usually pretty popular as well. How the ocean's portrayed in the movies or TV shows, sustainability in the movie industry, or lack of sustainability in the movie industry. The ocean portrayed in video games, maybe you used to play Subnautica, like how accurate is that portrayal? Environmental or climate justice and environmental racism, not something that we go into in terms of the lab part of the class, but we do talk about this in my lecture class. It is very interesting. Alternative energies, whether or not EVs may or not be the solution to climate change, or maybe we want to talk about geothermal engineering or geothermal energy, nuclear energy, things like that. There's a lot of ways you can go into that. Vape waste and pollution, especially within the tobacco and the cannabis industry. There's a lot of waste from that. Climate geoengineering is pretty controversial in terms of kind of on the global stage, so that might be kind of interesting to go into. Food insecurity in the climate crisis. I had someone who was a lifelong barista, and so he did his project on the coffee industry and how that may be impacted by climate change. Maybe you're an education major and climate change and education. There's tons of different routes you can go with that. Fast fashion is a very, very popular topic these days. Lots of ways you can go into that one as well. And maybe even something a little bit more on the positive end of things, of like local policies to combat pollution or combat climate change, or making your industry more sustainable, kind of going back into this idea, like if you're someone who works in restaurants or whatever, you've had to kind of pivot into using compostable plastics or biodegradable plastics, things like that, or just your industry in general. Topic of overpopulation is really interesting. Are you for it? Are you against it? Things like that. I will also mention that you are welcome to choose a topic and have whatever opinion you have on it. Know that if whatever you think my opinion may be is, you don't have to try to sway into that. Be yourself. Support your opinions. Support your truth with just good science that's backed up properly. So that's kind of the gist of it. So make a presentation in terms of slides with pictures and captions with those pictures. And then just do the presentation to either your computer if you're making a recording, or to me. I promise I'm not that scary. But if you have any questions on this, please feel free to reach out. If you need help spitballing some ideas on what you may do, just holler out for that as well. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all on the flip side.